Well, I think one of the ways that prospective students learn about the programs at DMACC is through our discovery days. Within the engineering and pre-engineering programs, the recruiters do an excellent job of trying to schedule a whole bunch of different experiential learning, usually structured in the morning or some portion of time where they'll actually rotate through a series of different programs, getting to learn a little bit and hear a little bit about each one of those different programs. And then in many cases, they've even spent the afternoons or a portion of that time taking a field trip and actually going out into industry to learn a little bit more about how that education is put into practice.
So one deal in automotive that we do a lot of is recruiting. We get out and do as much recruiting as we can, but one of our very successful recruiting events are these things called Discover DMACC Auto Diesel Days. And what I just absolutely love about these automotive diesel days is it allows potential students to come in and really explore the different career paths that they may have in automotive, auto collision, and diesel. A lot of the high schools just don't offer exploratory classes anymore for students, and so this gives an opportunity from students all across the state of Iowa to be able to come in and interact with faculty in those different disciplines. So they will go through and spend 25 to 30 minutes learning about the automotive technology program, and then the same amount in our internship-based programs, the same amount of time in auto collision, the same amount of time in diesel, and it really gives those students an opportunity to be able to say, this is something that interests me more. I wasn't sure if I wanted automotive or auto collision or an internship-based program or diesel, and we get a very high return out of these Discover DMACC Auto Diesel Days. I would say that that is a very big bang for our buck in recruiting, and it really gives the students an opportunity to explore those different paths that they may not have had that chance or opportunity.
Sometimes when students take our placement test, they look at the score and feel a little bit deflated on how they did because they have an idea of where they want to be, and then they're just not there yet. So I think students will appreciate having more than one way or more than one path to get to their desired next step. So right now, looking at students that are going to go into maybe a STEM field and need the calculus series, but maybe didn't quite have the opportunities before they get to DMACC, or maybe it's been a long time since they've taken a math class, hopefully they can get caught up in a semester as opposed to 2 or 3 and get on to the next step for them.
I always like to ask a student where they're from, what brought them to this industry. Maybe they've got somebody in their family that works on trucks, works on equipment, works in the ag industry. A lot of kids are coming from farm backgrounds, so I get to ask about what kind of equipment do you have at home, what kind of stuff are you trying to go work on. But I also like to ask, what are you trying to do? You want to work on trucks? You want to work on equipment? You want to work on ag stuff? You don't know yet, so maybe we're gonna poke around and try a little bit of everything. It's just kind of fun to see where everybody comes from.
Our overall goal of our Pathway Day and getting the students in the room and with faculty telling them a little bit about their areas and talking to former students and industry leaders was for them to get a bigger picture of what they're going into and maybe help them decide an earlier path, but also to know that whatever path they're on, it's just a sidestep to that something else they might have heard of that day, that once they get into their classes they decided, well, cyber sounded more interesting, can I do that? Or maybe they're in cyber and they really like programming and they're like, yeah, I can do that. We're all at the same day together. So.